I hope you're ready.
This is Unbridled Thoughts.
We want to hear what you have to say.
Welcome back to Unbridled Thoughts. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Ren, and you better grab the mane because there's no reins at Unbridled Thoughts.
And today we are here with Jessica Ingram from Broken Chalice. You want to say hi, Jessica?
Hey, guys.
And you and I actually met. You came in to get a spa service at my spa.
Yes.
And we just kind of started talking and...
Lots of talking.
Lots of talking. I think we talked nonstop.
Pretty much.
But you kind of cued some certain words about, you know, your band and then like a upcoming song that kind of touched close to my heart.
Sure.
Next thing I know, I'm like, okay, you got to be on my podcast with us.
Yeah, I was up for that.
Yeah. And that song, we're going to talk about it later on because I just kind of want to get the backstory. But that song is being released in July. What's the date again?
Gosh, put me on the spot, why don't you? I want to say July 9th, but I am probably wrong.
Yeah, I can't remember.
But somewhere early July.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if it was July 11th or July 9th.
Might be July 11th.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
one of those
I kept
dates.
going back and forth. Yeah, but that's okay. We'll have the real date and when we're advertising, because this one will drop. Whenever we get your date, we'll try to drop it like a day. We drop on Tuesdays, so we'll try to drop whatever Tuesday that's either on or before.
Perfect.
What day do you normally drop on?
Usually Friday.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll try to do that Tuesday before you drop. So I'm so excited that you're here.
Well, thank you. I'm really happy to be here with y'all.
And I want to get to know you as a person before we get to know you as a singer.
Okay.
So tell me, you've been married to the same man forever.
Yes, I have 26 years coming up in 3 days. It's the second, so yes, in 3 days.
Oh my
Happy
goodness.
anniversary.
Wait,
On the 5th, yeah.
that's my birthday. Oh, very cool. We will be doing lots of celebrating.
Yes.
That's awesome. Well, like, happy birthday to him, because today
Yes,
is his birthday, the day we're recording.
Yes.
And then Thursday is your guys' anniversary. You guys have lots to celebrate.
We do. June's a big month for us.
Yeah, no kidding. And he's also your manager, right?
He keeps my life organized and me sane. I probably drive him insane, but we don't have to talk about that today.
Yeah, that's how Chris feels about us most of the time, too.
Yeah. Good men. These are good men.
He keeps us organized, and we drive him crazy.
Yeah,
It's like it's our job.
we're the artistic ones, so you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, he's my spouse and then also a work spouse. So it's like trying to juggle everything.
Fun
It's like works out
times.
great.
That's cool. And then together, you guys have how many kids?
We have 5 children, 2 of whom are married.
Yeah.
2 of whom are going to be married within the next year.
Oh, my goodness.
So it's always busy around our house. Yes.
And you have grandbabies, too.
Yep. Our grandbaby number 5 is due any day now.
Wow,
Really. We're
that's
on
crazy.
baby watch this month.
Add to the June crazy, huh?
Yes. She told me, Mom, I do not want to have this baby in July. I think June is a good month. I said, I don't blame you, baby.
Well, when you get to the end, you're so uncomfortable. You know
She's
what
there.
I mean? Yeah.
She's there. Almost 38 weeks, and she's just, Mom, there's no position. I watch her try to watch TV, and she's just up and down.
Yeah.
Bless her heart.
Yeah. I remember the days in sleeping. You're like, oh, I'll get some relief. I'll go to sleep. And then you're like, I can't sleep. I'm too uncomfortable.
And the Braxton Hicks.
Yeah. Is this it? Is this it? Is it now?
Do I need to get Mom? Do I need to call Mom?
That's awesome. Oh, yeah, because there is a story. I remember that now. Isn't her husband's away or something?
Yes, her husband is in the Army.
Yeah.
And he's in basic right now.
Yes.
And he was supposed to be home. It was going to work out perfectly. He would be home in time for the birth. And then he was severely injured. And it extended. He was in recovery for about, 4 or 5 weeks, and then had to restart everything over. So she's due the 22nd. His graduation is the 27th. So,
oh my gosh.
yeah,
That's
so
crazy times.
bless her heart. They've just made peace with the fact that he's more than likely not going to make it for the birth. And so
Yeah.
we just planned accordingly. all right, this is
trudging right
yeah.
along.
I mean, what's the option?
Yeah, and this is her first baby.
This is her first.
So it's
yeah.
scary, but I mean, honestly, if I could go back in time, I think I would have rather had my mom versus my husband. Moms just know what to do.
I'm very, very thankful that I'm here. I'm here with her.
Bye, Grace. We do
Zing
record
zong.
at my spot, and so most of the time we try to keep everything clean. But there's just certain times when that's just not going to happen.
Hey,
So
it's
we have
real
people,
life.
Yeah.
people coming and going in the middle of recording, but that's okay. Here we are, just making the best of it.
Surrounded by prosperity all
There you
around.
go. Exactly.
There you go.
I love it.
Working women.
Yeah. And what are the age ranges of your kids?
My oldest is about to be 25, and then my daughter is 21, almost 19, just turned 17, and just turned 15.
Dang, you still have some babies in there.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. My youngest daughter, who's planning on getting married next year, it's one of those. She's known this boy since they were
Little.
this high,
Yeah.
and it's kind of we just always knew.
Mm-hmm.
And so they are doing all the work and planning their wedding. And
Yeah.
my husband and I got married very young, and so we're
And I mean, it works too a lot of times. You know what I mean?
yeah. I think it's there's no guarantees either way.
No.
Either way, life is hard.
Yeah.
And so our philosophy has always been if you know that this is the person you want to spend your life with and you're ready to make the commitment, then just do the hard things together.
Yeah.
That's been our lifestyle. This is a hard thing we're facing, but we're together.
We're doing
we can
it together.
do a lot of things
Yep.
together that are much more difficult
Yes.
not
Yes.
together. So
yeah.
a lot of kids, a lot of grandkids. Our house is usually loud.
Yeah.
Which is saying for this introverted, creative person that I am. I always laugh because I tell my husband if I could have chosen, if I could have said this was the ideal life for me, it would have been on a mountain somewhere. I would have left my home exactly once a week to go to church, and then walk out my front door to hike, and then I would have read and written, and that would have been me.
Yeah.
So of course I married a very introvert or a very extroverted, driven man.
Yeah.
Had 5 children.
Yeah.
And here we are.
And here you are living the life. I know. I got married young too. And I mean, people do it. My sister got married young. She's been with her man since she was 14. And
Yeah.
they're just still so in love with each other. It's like
Yeah.
sickening. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I wanted to be married my whole life.
Of
Once I was
course.
married, I was like, all right, this is what I'm doing. This is what I want for the rest of my life. But
You generally don't make those kind of
Sometimes
commitments
it
with the
doesn't
plan
happen.
of not.
Yeah.
But life is
hard.
it is hard.
Yeah.
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 It sure is.
I want to ask you about because you haven't obviously been a singer the whole time. Did you go to school to do anything, or were you just always wife and mom?
I have gone to school off and on
Okay.
for just because I crave knowledge. I'm in school now. I go to seminary now. But I got married right after I graduated from high school and then had a baby almost exactly a year later.
Oh, okay.
And then I've homeschooled most of that time. So yeah, pretty much wife and mom I've tried to, divert my attention enough to go back to school here and there, but that's only been successful at times, depending,
Yeah.
because I have a lot of kids that need a lot of mom.
Yes.
And so yeah, I've always been learning. Homeschooling has kind of contributed to that. I've classically homeschooled my kids, so a lot of reading classical
Yeah.
literature.
Yes.
I have an enormous library.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been an interesting life. Very fulfilling.
I love it. I love it. So, no extra education. But you've always been a creator.
Yes.
And did you always think that someday you might become a singer, or?
Well, I was never not a singer.
Okay.
In some context or
Okay.
another. And I've done it professionally only the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Prior to that, my family, we're all singers. My dad was a pastor, so we sang. That's what we did.
Yeah.
And I've always been a writer. I never wrote poetry. That wasn't a thing until about 6 years ago. I was in a motorcycle accident, suffered a traumatic brain injury, and all of a sudden my writing turned to rhyming.
That's crazy.
So I've always processed the world. Like I'm sitting here having this conversation with y'all, and I'm writing about it in my head. I'm describing, that's just how I've processed the world around me.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, for about a year after my injury, I couldn't write at all, which was a scary, scary thing.
Yes.
And then as it started to come back, I realized it was in the form of rhyme. And so then my husband was like, well, why don't you just write music? Because you already sing. And that seemed very, very weird to me. Yeah. But that's what I started doing. And I love it.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
I really, really love it.
That is so neat. Honestly, like I've always thought my whole entire life, like to be able to write music just is so beautiful and such a talent that my mind will write vivid stories, and I sometimes will put that in my notes or whatever, you know what I mean? So I have all sorts of vivid stories, but never have I ever been able to get the concept of writing music. So anytime I ever hear anybody, I'm always like, this is like the most beautiful talent ever, and I get so excited. Just like it gives me goosebumps just hearing you talk about your little process, and like I started writing rhymes, and then I'm like, I love every bit of this.
I can remember the first time I realized it was more than just something weird my brain was doing, because my brain was TBIs, or I don't recommend them. Right. So it was a lot of weird things happened those first few years. But I remember we were driving we lived in Ohio, and we were driving through through West Virginia into Virginia, and there's like these big tunnels, and it was at night. And I remember as we were driving towards this tunnel, and the lights of the cars were, illuminating it, and I realized it looked like shoulders. The tunnel entrance looked like shoulders of something holding up the mountain, and which, that was normal for me. And so then my mind starts going off describing this giant, but it was in rhyme.
That's awesome.
Wow. And then it became a poem. And then, so I actually have it in my notes. This is called Tunnel Vision. And it became, it is this shrugging giant bearing the load of this mountain, but there's something there too. There's the tunnel that we have to go through, and what's on the other end.
That's cool. Do you think you could ever turn it into a song?
It's not really, the format doesn't really lend itself to a song. Sometimes my middle boy is a writer and a composer, a musician. He's fantastically talented.
I love that.
Yeah, and some of the stuff that he listens to, the songs that he listens to, the way the lyrics are structured, I can almost see where it could, but I haven't quite got there myself. How would I turn that into a song?
That's going to be so exciting, though. I actually feel that happening. And it's gonna
that would be really cool. It has been a topic of conversation.
Do I get the first, since I'm a part of this now? I get the inside guess what I did, Sarah.
Guess what?
It happened. It's going to happen. I feel it.
That would be very cool.
Well, I hate that you went through something so scary and traumatic, but on the other side of it, it's almost like sort of an evolution creatively, like that. That's amazing to me.
Yeah, it is. When I look back at it, I'm one of those people. I apparently have a lot of philosophies. Another of my main philosophies is I don't waste a lot of time with regret.
Right.
To me, it's a waste of time and it's a waste of energy.
Yeah.
And so I've walked through some very hard things in my life, the least of which was on a brain injury. It's not fun, but I've done harder things, and I just cannot convince myself of the value of wishing things were different, wishing I hadn't, because number one, it's not going to change anything, and I'm wasting time that could be better spent learning from it, growing from it, using it to help other people who might be walking through something similar. That's time better spent. And so that's how I feel about the brain injury. Yes, it was difficult. I don't recommend them. I don't regret it either.
Right.
I can see how bad it was, and I can, when we talk about it with my family, and I acknowledge the trauma both to myself but also to my family. Right. That was terrifying.
Yeah,
it was terrifying for my children.
Yeah.
My husband, this big, strong, confident man, was utterly helpless to do anything for me for a very long time. Yet I'm not going to waste a lot of time wishing it hadn't happened. Instead, I'm going to say, okay, what's the good? Where is it? Where can I find it? How has this been used for good, for not just me, but for other people? And I can see a lot of that. And so that's where I'm gonna dwell.
Well, I love that philosophy. I got goosebumps over my whole body. Like when you were saying that to you, like I was like, bing.
Yeah.
Like that is.
Well, that's kind of like why we started this podcast. It's just taking like things that could be not so pretty and making them like what did we learn from it? What did we get from it that is beautiful? You know what I mean? Like, let's just keep moving forward with our life. Let's keep on looking towards the bright, and use our bad story for good. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? And making our life, our future more beautiful, because it's always, that's biblical, right?
Very much so.
He says all things to his glory and his good. So, even that includes the bad.
Yeah. Well, God, as the concept of God as sovereign, that's a big concept.
Yeah.
It's huge, but it's also one of the most comforting ways of viewing him, of knowing him, because if I believe that he is sovereign, then there is nothing, not even evil, that is not in his hand, that he does not have to permit.
Yeah.
That's a hard thing. How do I trust a God
then
who
why does
permits?
he allow this?
Why does he allow that? Okay, then that's something to talk about. Definitely something to talk about. But do I trust a God who doesn't know and who doesn't have control? Or that is he one that things are just happening to, and around him without him saying, I'm allowing this, and then trusting that he is using it for my good and for his glory? Well, that's the God that I trust.
And somebody else. Sometimes we go through things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't see how it benefits your life in any way, but then, you have somebody, hey, when you wrote the song that you wrote that we're going to talk about later, I don't think that when you were talking to me about it, it was going to resonate so hard with me.
No.
You know what I mean? Usually people are on my table like counseling me, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, this is like church up in here, and I'm the one getting the counseling. So you just never know if what you go through is why you go through it,
Right. And it's, to me, when I can look at the hard things that I've walked through, and just, I as a child, I was hurt by someone that I should have been able to trust. And gosh, that's hard to find any kind of redemption in that kind of story. At the same time, decades later, someone that I love so very dearly was also hurt in a similar fashion. And I was helpless in so many ways to help her. I wanted to take it. Can I take this? Let me just carry it for you.
Yeah, because you're an empath.
Yeah, I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
I could not do that. But what I could allow her to see was someone who was not defined by my trauma.
Yeah.
I was not chained by it. I was not hopeless. I wasn't a continued victim. Was I a victim as a child?
Moment? Yes.
Yes, I was. But today I'm not.
Yeah.
Today I'm not, because there is hope. There is hope past that.
And there is a lot of beauty and power in when you finally, because you and I talked about this too, because we both have had like the same, similar but different abuse. And we both talked about it. It's like when you start claiming the names that are behind the name that represent the abuse, and you start claiming them as your own, people like, I'll talk about it today and people are like, how can you say that word so lightly? And it's like, because I own that word now.
Yeah.
I'm taking control of that word.
Yeah.
I have two choices. That word gets to control me, or I get to control that word. So if the stronger and braver I say that word slips away from me and makes it smaller and smaller and smaller.
Yes.
The least the more I give it power, the lower I get and the least healed I am from this. You know what I mean? So it is exactly, you're exactly right. Like the only thing you can offer is that I'm not a victim from it. I've grown from this situation. I don't let it control me anymore. And I mean, look at my life. It's beautiful. It's blessed. I mean, there's a reason why the rear view mirror is so tiny and the front is so large, right?
That might be a
moving
lyric.
forward.
Write it down.
Where's my notes?
Where's the notes? You know?
But yes, that is so true. That is so true. The things that, and in a way, the more power you give those words that we don't like to say. We don't like to say the word abuse. We don't like to say the word rape.
Right.
We don't like to say those words.
We don't like to say them.
But the more we shrink from talking about them and keeping them hidden,
the stronger
more power,
they are.
Yeah, not just those words. In my mind, I'm continuing to give power to my abuser.
Exactly. And other abusers.
Yes. And I just refuse to do that.
Me too.
I'm not going to do that.
Me too.
And I don't want any other vulnerable woman or man, whomever it is, to be stuck in that cycle of continuing to give that power, that power that for whatever reason was taken from them during that moment of victimization, that season of victimization.
Yeah.
We don't have to continually repeat that pattern. At some point, it has to break. At some point, it has to stop. And who better to say no more? Yeah. No more than me.
Yeah. Well, and I think a lot of times these people get by with what they do, you know, the harm that they cause in the abuse, because people are afraid to actually call it what it is and give it the title that it deserves. Yeah. So if you were to look at that person and be like, you are not going to rape me, or you are not going to abuse me, you know, and you call it what it is, I think in some way, like looking back when I was in those situations, I feel like if I would have used those strong words and not shrink away from it, then it might have changed my future.
Yeah, we like euphemisms as humans. We like to soften things, and it's easier to say, it's almost easier to say sexual assault.
Yes.
Or taking my agency. Yeah. Or lack of consent. We like to then just saying what it is. It was rape.
It was rape. And then but at that same time, then we give that word power. We give the abuser power. We give everything power because we're afraid to use our voice, which we should have been said a long time ago. I studied psychology, way back in the day, and it said from the very beginning, a parent should never nickname their child's private parts. And stuff like that. Because when you have the real words of everything, then you're educated. And it's so much harder for a victim, when they just stand up and use all the right words, then you have the abuser be like, it might trigger somebody to like, shut up or stop, or you know what I mean? Like
when we use euphemisms, it softens the edges of the discussion.
Exactly.
It makes it seem less than what it is, which diminishes not only the impact of what is going on, but it diminishes the perception of that impact.
Right.
So the person that's hearing this story, they're not hearing the raw truth.
Exactly.
They're hearing this softened language, which then it removes that sense of urgency, the emergency that it truly is.
Exactly.
And so we use real words, real true words, and they're hard words, but it's important.
They're important. And I mean, I'm hoping somebody gets that strength from listening to what we just talked about. I don't want to pry you, but we might, if you're willing, because we do want to have a whole discussion, we're here to actually promote your music and your songs and everything. But maybe we'll touch back. Maybe you want to come back a part of that discussion for things that you've gone through in your life if you feel comfortable with it.
Yeah.
So moving on from all of that.
We could be here all day.
So you were inspired from the accident. We'll just circle right on back. Inspired by the accident, or your brain just kind of rewired itself, basically,
Apparently,
I guess,
yeah.
on how you were going to handle everything. And you started writing music. You were a singer forever. Mm-hmm. So I think this is going to be a great spot. Ren has like some beautiful questions that I want her to ask. Then I want to circle back around and discuss the song and the reason why we have you on here. That's going to be released in July
Yes.
9th or 11th. We'll figure out the date. We'll let y'all know.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, so I was excited because I had learned that you had received a gift of studio time to record 5 songs one year for Christmas. And I wanted to know what those 5 songs were, and did they ignite your journey into music?
Yeah. So this was 2019, Christmas of 2019. My husband, who is, he's just a really cool guy.
Yeah.
I love this.
And he's just a really amazing man. He had this amazing gift idea. He called a studio in Nashville, Daywind Studio, talked to an executive producer there about, what are the options. I wanted to bring my wife. I want her to record some, and he was just thinking use tracks and whatever. And Rick, the producer, he said, well, we can do that. He said, or we can do a live, the live band. She could record 5 original songs, not songs that I had written, but songs that had not been recorded before, and just do the whole thing, the whole Nashville experience. So,
gosh, that's amazing.
Christmas morning, I get up, and apparently, like, the whole family was involved in this surprise for me. All the kids had written me letters, and I just cried. And then my husband had printed out like a picture of like me and put it on a vinyl cover, and then I opened it and it had like, this is what you're doing, going to Nashville and everything. Of course, this is 2019 Christmas. Next year was 2020, so that was super fun. But we get there in February, so prior everything, all the crazy, and I did the whole thing. I had found, they sent me just like Dropbox full of like, basically, so writers will write songs, record like demo versions of them, and send them to producers to pitch to artists.
Oh, okay.
And so they had sent me a Dropbox full of hundreds of songs that had, that I could choose from. And this was very much Southern gospel type music, which is fine. I can fit into that. I have the vocals to do that. So I recorded 5 songs, and the producer at the time, he was like, well, have you ever thought of making a full project, which would be like a 10-song album, and so we planned to come back in April and finish the album. Of course, then 2020, so it was pushed to May. Came back, did that, recorded a music video, released our first song. I think we might have released the first song actually before, like during 2020, like during the shutdowns in March and stuff. But yeah, it was, there was a song called Maybe, and it was very, very much Southern gospel. It was kind of about like, maybe that place, I've never felt safe like to go into church. It seems like the place that I am not going to be accepted, but maybe there's hope, maybe there's something there for me. And then we did another song called You Were In It All, and the music video was actually based on my husband and I. He's in the music video with me, and we did like a concept video. I don't know that that's still on anywhere online. I don't know. We pulled a bunch of the Southern gospel stuff anyways, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
So, gosh, I really can't remember many of those songs. another fun thing with the brain injury is my memory is very, very bad.
Hey, you're in good company here. I can't remember anything.
But it really did open the door. I met some of the people that I met at that moment, like in that initial foray into the Nashville music scene and everything, I'm still working with today.
Yeah.
I'm extremely good friends with them, and like they don't just work with me, they are my friends and family.
Yeah.
And so it was a fantastic, just overall, my husband's like, I'm never going to beat that one. I'm like, well, yeah, it's kind of created more work for him, I think, than anything. Right. But it has been, you know what, the gift and the journey since then, we made a lot of big life decisions based on that, you know, the fruit of that gift, what came from that gift.
That's awesome.
So it's been an interesting, how many years now? Almost 6 years.
Yeah, almost
then.
6 years.
Wow. Yeah.
That's crazy.
I did not know that this was going to be the answer. And I'm still processing it.
I know.
I didn't know it was your husband that got it for you.
Yeah.
And this is like so romantic. And then you were talking about the tree and like the album, like all the kids. I was just like,
I know, that was like a lot of emotions.
So cool. Yeah.
Good emotions. But what is his name? Because you light up when you talk about him. Like seriously, your whole face, like everything starts glowing when you talk about your husband. So after so many years is amazing.
His name is Andy.
Andy. Okay.
Andy,
we need to give the poor guy a shout out.
Good job, Andy.
Good job, Andy.
Well, for sure. I also love so they talk about when people do like then maybe they work in a different industry and they do a run on Broadway. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They might be like a musician or a singer, and then they'll do a run on Broadway with like a whole cast.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, this is what I'm doing this, guys. And you kind of watch it on social media, and then but things that will happen in the theater, mm-hmm. you are part of that sort of theater family.
Yeah.
So you're in it, and the same things affect you, and you see people kind of get closer.
Oh yeah.
And people come out of an experience like that, like we are like a little family and go through everything together. So it's kind of interesting that you kind of got pulled in familial, like with COVID, and like all the other recording artists and the recording producers were like, hey, so this has never happened to us before. And you're here too.
And this is scary. And nobody knows what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Wow.
And why are you starting a music career in 2020? That's weird. Nobody's doing that.
Yeah. Only you. That's awesome.
Oh, that's so cool. Well, I know we had talked about, you had just mentioned the gospel. Mm-hmm. Did you want to touch a little bit about that, like the gospel music that you were just saying a minute ago, that the first recordings, we'll get a little more into that.
Yeah.
Were more gospel recordings.
Yeah, I did 2 projects that were Southern Gospel, played on Southern Gospel radio. Some of the singles did really well. And I really enjoyed it. I learned a lot. Mm-hmm. And part of what I learned is that I'm not really suited to that world. I really wasn't sure what that meant until my husband started talking to me about doing rock music, which was weird because I'm classically trained. I'm a first soprano, and then I did Southern Gospel. Yeah. So now we're talking about rock. I now have whiplash. But one of the things that, he and my friend Micah, he does a lot of he does my vocal production. He produces all of my videos. And he's just been in the Nashville scene for forever. They were really pushing this idea. And a big selling point for me was that the songs that I was writing, number one, they weren't going to be played on Southern Gospel radio. There's a lot of amazing music on Southern Gospel. There's a lot of amazing writers writing into that genre. But it's pretty structured as to what is and is not discussed. Mm-hmm. And the things that I'm writing about, this song I'm releasing in July is about domestic violence. We're not going to be singing about that on Southern Gospel radio. Not to the degree that I'm writing about it. But I don't really know how else to write.
Right.
And while I can sing the way I need to sing on Southern Gospel Radio. That's fine. That's not really me.
Yeah.
And so there was a point where I was feeling just a lot of frustration after several years working with multiple different people, just feeling this frustration that I am being asked to suppress large pieces of not just who I am. I accept that there are certain contexts we have to adapt ourselves, and I'm not opposed to that idea in general. But as a creative, as an artist, I just felt like I just don't know if this is worth it.
Right.
I feel like the ask is really big and the return is not commensurate,
Yeah.
And so when they started pitching this idea of moving towards, in the rock direction, a lot of my husband's persuasion was based upon the fact that, because, in my mind, I'm seeing, black leather and, things that are, I'm a bookworm and I have a bunch of kids. And I mean, how in the world am I going to fit in that world? And my husband was saying, no, the beauty of it is whoever you are, you fit.
Yeah. Right.
And there's not so much structure around who, there's not so much gatekeeping about who is and who isn't allowed in. And so that was really appealing to me. And so I thought, well, okay, all right. So I wrote this song.
Yeah.
And my first single, as Broken Chalice, my band, is Burn It Down, which of course that means we need screaming guitars and fire.
Yeah.
And so we did.
It does have a Christian base to it, though. I definitely still feel like the presence of Jesus. But I think you're in good company, because I was just listening to an interview of another singer, and I don't want to name drop or anything because I have no connection to him. I was just literally listening to this interview. And he was talking about his process of getting into the country world and kind of being that same way. Like, he was like, I don't know what kind of country I am. I'm not the twangy country. I'm not the rock country. I don't know. Like, I just have my own brand and my own version. So I think, and even with us, like when we were thinking about doing this podcast, everybody was like, well, what kind of podcast is it going to be? And I was like, listen, I told her right away, if we're going to do this, I don't want to pigeonhole us into anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I want to keep us wide open with everything we do, because I mean, that's just kind of who our personality is. So I think there's like a new spirit, you know what I mean? Like, it's a new energy or something. I don't know how to describe it. But I mean, I think that we're not all in the same boat with that. I think we are in the same boat with that. I think all of us are trying to break away from like whatever confines, you know what I mean, that used to be there. Yeah. And I kind of honestly remember feeling that energy way back even in like the early 2000s, like the 2010 time, when I was always big into fashion. So I'd follow the fashion throughout the years, this is what's in style, this is what's in style, this is what's in style. And I remember like kind of like in the 2000s and even especially to the 2010s, it was like almost anything was in style. Like, how do you define what was in style? You know what I mean? And so I think that energy's been kind of happening since the 2000s. It's like we're in a whole new century.
And, technology, the technological changes, I mean, they've completely upended the music industry.
Yes.
Labels just aren't what they were.
Just really aren't.
Because people have so much more access via, I mean, we're sitting here, you're going to put this on Spotify or whatever, and that's us. You can pay a fee and put your stuff out there for the world to hear. You don't have to go through
the normal channels where they used to kind of try to pigeonhole you into like, okay, this is what you are now.
This is what we want to sell. So you need to be this thing.
Yeah.
And whatever that thing was, and I'm probably not that thing.
Yeah, you're not that thing. And we're not that thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But then if you had people I'm really dating myself, y'all. If you had people take the chance, I remember when all you had was like terrestrial radio, and you had like Christian bands that were a little heavier that couldn't really be put into like a category. So you had like Jars of Clay, Striper, and
I know, I was just trying to think of
Skillet, and there was
Skillet, that's what I was trying to think of.
But all of them crossed over into secular hits, like on the top, like on the hits chart. So I think a lot too, you miss out when you don't give artists that opportunity to, without putting my personal opinion into it. It's like, it seems like it does bear like fruit,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and, I mean, that's one thing my husband is really loving about, I mean, most of the playlists that I'm on, they're not Christian playlists, which to me as a Christian, I'm like, I'm infusing my lyrics with the gospel. So he was, updating me on all the numbers that I don't remember at all. But I was, I said, I wonder what percentage of those people have never heard the gospel.
Right.
And to me, that as a believer, that is goals.
I mean, honestly, yeah, it's like trying to put Christ out there in plain sight. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of feel the same way about my spa. I'm not advertising that this is a Christian spa, but I do pray over my spa. You know what I mean? And I pray that people feel, the warmth and the love of Jesus when they walk into this place, And I mean, you got to think, I'm sure that's how like Chick-fil-A felt in the beginning, and some of these other people who are putting Jesus into their business, and they become successful. And I mean, that's what Jesus did. He sat with the sinners. He sat with it. You know what I mean? He wasn't like hanging out with his kind. When you're hanging out with your kind, what are you doing? We're here to speak the gospel.
The people that aren't your kind are you reaching, and how successfully? And that's my husband I tend to get very pigeonholed. I tend to get very like narrow vision of this is my goal, and this is what I have to do, and this is how I have to get there. And he's like, we're not playing by those rules. So he's really good for me to show me, okay, that's fine, but look at what's possible if we don't do that. And it's been so fun. So I've released 2 songs now, about to release my 3rd in July as Broken Chalice, and it has been above and beyond. Yeah. We are just amazed at the reception.
It's really good too. I've listened to both the songs that you've released, which the first one you told me about because you were here, and then you released the second one, in between. I haven't seen you. Yeah. And I don't know how I don't know if it was on your social media or we went to go search you because we were going to do the questions for the interview, and we were like, wait, is this the song? No, this isn't the same song. Like, what song is this? Oh, look, it was just released.
And they're about to next Friday, they're releasing a remix of that most recent Fallen Walls. Yeah. Okay, so it's cool. I didn't they told me we talk through all those logistical things. I'm like, oh, okay, that sounds nice. And then I get it and I'm like, oh, this is really cool. Kind of like dance club type.
Yeah, it is. It's really good. You got good stuff. I think you're on your way, girl.
Thanks.
I think
I'm enjoying it. I really love it.
Yeah.
Really love it.
I love that.
Well, I wanted to ask you too about the band name. It's Broken Chalice, and it's so evocative. And I wanted to know more about that name and your band and kind of how you all came to that.
Well, that was another point of persuasion that my husband, because to me it felt pretentious. I'm just me. Just put my name out. It's fine. And he's like, he had lots of reasons why. And so then it became, okay, well then what? Now we have to choose a name. That's hard. And we talked about God as sovereign, and one of the ways that that's expressed in Scripture is God as the potter, and we are the clay on the wheel.
I love that Scripture.
Yes, yeah. And that means that we are crafted according to His purpose, and that could be a vessel of honor, something that's set out and it's pretty, or something that's for very basic use, and we don't get to say. The sovereign God who is the potter, He makes that decision, and we are vessels. We are in His hands to be used as He wills. I love that the imagery as a writer, the imagery is as you said, it's very evocative. It's something to wrestle with. I'm not sure that I like not having a say,
I don't think any of us do. That's
right.
We fight it a lot.
Yeah. So I love that. And so then I'm thinking vessel, and I think we were actually my husband and I were in Atlanta just taken a weekend, and we were watching TV, and there something came on, and the word chalice was used. And I said, oh, I love that, because that's an old word for a vessel, a cup. I love that. So we started playing with that word, and I was thinking just chalice. And I think that was already in use. Somebody had already trademarked it or something. And so I just thought, sat with it. And another aspect of being that clay in the potter's hands on the potter's wheel is that clay is one of the cheapest materials. It's also fragile. It's fragile. And this is the material that the Apostle Paul uses to describe this vessel that we are, that the treasure of the Holy Spirit dwells within as believers. Clay that is so easily broken and so frequently broken. And so then I was like, okay, because that's me. That's me. How many times have I been broken?
That really hit me.
I know.
I felt that in my bones.
But the beauty of it is that the potter still finds use for me. I have been shattered. I should have been thrown out in the dust heap. Anybody who's of any intelligence would have looked at me and said, well, you're not of any use anymore. Get rid of you and get something fresh. And yet the potter still chooses to make use of me.
Yeah.
He's still, all right, back on the wheel you go. And so the idea of broken chalice became almost like I couldn't get rid of it.
I love that.
And I told my husband, this is what I want.
Yeah.
I want not just to me it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Like it's a beautiful, I love language.
I love that.
But it's also, to me, it's hopeful.
Yeah.
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 There's hope there.
Yes.
Something that resonated with me too when you said it was, it's not only are we broken and sometimes we should be thrown out, but it's like in what we're doing, us with our podcast, you with your music, we're kind of putting like our most vulnerable side out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To be rejected by humans. And it's just really nice to know that there is still a creator that accepts us no matter how we come, what form, where we look, you know what I mean? And that's always been the one thing that's held me on, especially coming from an abusive marriage, which we'll talk about deeper later on. But, that abuser just so many times tries to make you feel like you're not worthy, you're not beautiful, you're not smart, you're not worth anything, you know what I mean? But I always held on to Jesus, man. I always had my creator. I always knew that, and I would just
where else are you
dive
gonna go?
straight into my Bible. So when you said that, I was like, I feel this in so many ways.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Don't we all?
Yeah.
I love that. And then I wanted to ask you too, kind of touching on that too. What would you say are some of your biggest musical inspirations? And I would love for you to go back, like when you were like in middle school, like moving up till now, like maybe artists or bands that have kind of shaped your style growing up, or even who you like now,
Well, to a brief caveat is that I don't actually listen to music. It's I don't. It's my it feels like my brain is constantly dissecting it.
Okay.
And so there are very few things that I listen to that are just enjoyment.
I understand.
Otherwise, I'm taking it apart and I feel music like in my skin. And so if it like things that are discordant or just unpleasing, or displeasing, I can. It's not enjoyable to me all that much. So I don't listen to music very often. That said, as a little girl, my parents, of course, they grew up in the 60s and 70s, and I got married in 72. And they listened to a lot of Karen Carpenter. And Karen Carpenter, my mom always says that her voice is like butter. Just that smooth, rich quality of it. I can remember as a little girl listening to Karen Carpenter vinyls, and go take them and go back, because I liked the way she shaped her words. Something about the way she shapes her vowels was just lovely to me. And so I would move the little needle back and listen to the same spot over and over to hear, and then mimic. And there's still, at times when I'm singing, I will hear that influence. So Karen Carpenter she's a major one for me, as far as there's something about the quality of her voice that is, it never sounds strained. And later on, I did some classical training, and that was one of the big things was, don't allow the strain to be heard. So, relax your jaw, relax your neck. Don't allow strain to come through in your voice. And Karen Carpenter is a prime example of just that relaxed, easy, smooth, just richness. Love her. And then there's a man, and if you haven't followed Southern gospel music very much, you probably wouldn't recognize his name, but his name is Larnell Harris, and he's in his 70s, maybe 80s now, I'm not sure. And he did Southern gospel. He also did kind of more of a gospel. He's a black man. Very wonderful, amazing tenor. And I would do the same thing, except by this time I think I was listening to cassette tapes. And so I would rewind, and I would listen to the way he would do his runs, like his vocal, like the way he would move his voice, like on these really high notes. And I would do the same thing. I would mimic the way he did his runs. And again, I still hear that influence in my voice. And of course, he had just a beautiful voice, beautiful voice, gorgeous tenor. So yeah, Karen Carpenter, and then a Southern gospel guy, Larnell Harris. Fantastic. Those are probably my main influences.
That's really cool.
Well, I like too that what you said, past and present, with how your brain works, they kind of mirror each other.
Yeah.
Because before your brain would kind of finite the things that you enjoyed. And kind of zoom in.
Yes.
And now it finites the things that just don't quite hit right. And like when like your body doesn't receive that very well.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because it's like your brain has been on both sides of it, and you kind of utilize both now.
I do.
Cool.
And I'm very sensory seeking, and so those sensations that I would feel listening to people like Karen Carpenter, it is pleasurable. I can feel it like in my scalp.
Yes.
Like that ASMR thing. I can feel I can feel it. And it's so, I'm a sensory seeker, and I'm like, okay, let's do that again.
Well, we love when people share things like that with us too, because sometimes we'll we are in the spa industry, so sometimes spa music, it's relative to whoever's enjoying it and trying to relax.
Karen Carpenter all the way.
It's so interesting that music that is generally for the general populace, that is supposed to be relaxing music, that's not necessarily for everybody. So you'll come across someone who, same thing, it's like the vibe doesn't quite match up, and your brain is like, I don't like this sound right,
For sure.
I can kind of understand a little bit too. I'm not in any way claiming to be a writer, but in my troubled times and I couldn't sleep, I would write a lot at night, and I have multiple stories that I started writing. But that got me out of reading, because one, it started because I didn't want to read and then, copy somebody's rhythm or steal a line from somebody. So that kind of kept me from reading. And then when I tried to get back into reading after writing, it's almost like your brain changes.
Yeah.
And you start picking up on people's rhythms to the T.
There's a rhythm, yes.
And it really, you either like their rhythm or you don't like the rhythm. Something resonates with you or it doesn't resonate with me. And there would be multiple times people, I read this book, and I was like, I can't read that writer. I just can't. I mean, they don't, it's like the things, they don't write in depth, you know what I mean? And I mean, to this day, like, people will, but I swear, like, Stephanie Brown with the Twilight series, I mean, I know a lot of people like to, they either love or hate that whole thing.
Sure.
But the way she reads is, I mean, the way she writes, when you're reading it, it's very fluid.
Yes.
And I've always been the kind of person that I have to imagine everything in my head. So while I'm reading, these scenes are acting out in my head, And I think that's the reason why some writers I could really read and some writers I can't, because if I can't see it in my head, what am I reading?
Yes.
Like, I don't even care to read it anymore.
Yeah. There's a book called Wind in the Willows. It's an old classic Frog and Toad. Yes.
I've read that one.
That book was meant to be
That's
read
one of my
aloud.
favorites. Yes.
Because the cadence, and it's not poetry, but there is a very definite cadence with which the author, Graham, I think is his last name, with which he wrote.
Yes.
And it is one of the easiest, like, it's effortless. I read it aloud to my kids years and years ago as part of one of our literature things. I don't know. And I was sad. It was funny. It was a great book anyways, but just the pleasure I felt reading it aloud.
Yeah.
It truly was amazing.
Yeah. No, that used to be actually one of my favorite books. And we were just doing an interview where we were talking about books, and I could not remember, but that was one of them.
Wind in the Willows.
Yeah, Wind in the Willows. And
awesome.
I have the book. I have to go get it. The cover's been ripped off.
We have it on our bookshelf of the house. That's so wild. We don't even have kiddos or anything. I love it. I love it.
So cool.
Well, speaking of that visual imagery, I love the imagery in the music videos of yours that I've seen so far. They're really pretty powerful. Can you walk us through some of the visual themes or your creative process when you or your band talk about the music videos you create?
Sure. Okay, so probably I'm sure you've seen Burn It Down, which that is just full of and this is a collaborative process with my producer Micah. And he is one of those people I think very abstract, unless I'm writing, but visual media, I'm very abstract, and he is a video producer, and so he takes these abstract ideas in my head and makes them real.
I love
he's
that.
amazing at it. I mean, sometimes my husband says, sometimes you guys aren't even really talking. You're just going, yeah, okay. And then, yeah.
That's how her and I were.
Yes. So for Burn It Down, so it's actually based on a passage in 1 Corinthians chapter 3, where the Apostle Paul talks about the way that we're all, as believers, we're all building upon this foundation of Jesus Christ. We all have the same foundation, but we're not all building with the same material. Some of us are building with, silver and gold, precious stones, and then some of us are building with wood, hay, and straw.
Yeah.
But at the end of it all, there will be fire, and what we have constructed will be revealed. The quality of it, the durability of it. And so my idea with that song was, okay, well, I don't want to waste any time, so let's just set it on fire now. Yeah. And if I need to start over right now, I want to know that today.
My kind of girl.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No patience.
And so we obviously we had to incorporate a lot of pyrotechnics in the video itself, but we also wanted a story. What does this mean personally? And so we wanted to tell this story of the way that humans do. We do this. We build our lives. We build the things that are important based on, a lot of times, everything but eternity.
Yeah.
And not even that these things are inherently bad, that are good and blessed things, family, children, work. These are good things. These are good things. But are we building, what are we constructing with these things? Are we prioritizing these things to the extent that it becomes almost idolatry? And so we told this story of a young woman who is doing exactly that. She's allowing her desires, these things that aren't bad. These aren't bad things for home, for family, for children, to consume her to the point that what she is building is very shaky. It's not solid, and then at some point she realizes, I'm focusing on the wrong thing, and so she lights a match and sets it on fire. Which, again, these are good things.
Yeah.
These are gifts. These are gifts from a good God who loves us very, very much. Yet we tend to prioritize wrongly too often. And so there's freedom in saying, okay, I want these things, And these are desires that have been given to me by you, God. But I am laying my desires down, maybe even setting them on fire, and saying, I want to do what you want me to do. And if that means a home and a family, then you will give that. If that means maybe not, maybe I long for children, but I don't have children, and that's a desire I have to lay at your feet and trust you with, then I'm willing to do that, because I'm calling you my Lord. I'm calling you my master. And that's, again, go back to the sovereign God concept. That's a hard thing.
Yeah.
That's a hard thing. And yet that's what he's asking of us, to lay these things down, maybe even set them on fire. And so we wanted to just offer this really powerful imagery of what that can mean in the life of the believer. Sometimes it means laying down even the good things, our desires that are given to us by God, but that we have twisted and allowed those desires to become our God. And so, yeah.
I love that. That's such a beautiful way to look at things.
That's so deep too, because you do hear about, like, you don't consider. That's the thing I love, is like the things that you say, maybe consider this. You know what I mean? I love that, because I think sometimes we just living life and being taught or exposed to the things we are growing up, you're kind of shown things one way.
Yeah.
So I love your idea of really, I mean, it is kind of rock and roll, like deconstructing the things that you've been shown growing up, and then saying, well, what about this? What if we took it apart? Or, you know, could you put yourself in the situation, like your different points of views and things like that? Like, I like that a lot.
Yeah. And look at these things honestly. Yeah. That was in the Burn It Down video. There's a shot where her name is Grace, wonderful girl, the actress in that video, where she reaches into this old wooden dollhouse that I found on Facebook Marketplace. I love that thing. And she pulls out a cradle, and she's just weeping. Oh. And I mean, as women, as mothers, that is a hard thing. And yet, and there are women who long for children and can't have them, who have had children and have lost them through, you know, whatever means, or any number of stories along that spectrum. That's a real grief. That is a very real and raw and true grief that so many women in our broken, fallen world deal with every day. And I wanted to look at that honestly, and also acknowledge the fact that not every story has this fairy tale ending. Right. Not every woman who desires a child gets a child. That's a real thing. That's a hurtful thing. And so I wanted to acknowledge this thing and then show the hardship of it, but also the relief of it, of saying, I don't know if this means I'll get my child. I don't know if this means I'll get my dream, if I'll get my desire. But I'm telling you, Jesus, that I'm choosing you over everything. And then I don't know. I don't know what comes next. I don't know the answer.
We don't know the next step.
We don't.
I mean, even if our life is going exactly the way we think it is, we don't really know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah, you turn a corner, wham!
Yeah. I don't think you were planning on it getting in a motorcycle accident when you did.
No. I'd rather not do that again.
So you just never know what's going to happen.
Not at all.
You got to just keep on going.
Yep. Yeah. One foot in front of the other.
Yeah.
Do the next thing.
But you're incredibly deep. I knew that the day that we had our talk. I was like, dang, we've covered every deep subject a person can cover on the first time.
I know.
And I'm supposed to be trying to make her relax, by the way.
Oh, I was talking. I'm fine.
Coming from the introvert, but you were, in a little room. We trusted each other, so it was like it was right up your alley.
My eyes were closed, and
you just got to let the good times roll.
That's right. And it wasn't small talk.
No.
Please. Yeah, God forbid, no small talk.
Yeah.
I'd much prefer this.
Yeah.
This kind of thing.
I have a hard time too getting myself to do like just the constant small talk. You know what I mean?
I run out of things to talk about very quickly.
Yeah.
Then it gets awkward.
Every time I see my phone light up, I know we're on a like time limit. So I'm like, okay, time.
We're good.
So if you see me glance over that way, that's why.
Gotcha.
Yeah. That was all I had.
all you had?
I was like blown away. I was excited to ask these questions, but I mean, man, I feel like I just went on an incredible journey. I really do. Also, I cannot believe that because I heard you sing, and for you to say you're a first alto, your range is incredible.
Yes.
Incredible. Or a first soprano. I'm so sorry.
Yes.
I'm the alto.
No.
I made it about me.
Are you an alto?
Yes, I was an alto. I was the husband of the women's choir. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
That actually surprises me because you have just this cute little sweet, delicate voice while we're on the podcast.
Yeah.
So I imagine you.
I hear that gravel a little bit.
Yeah. You have a better ear than I do.
But it was amazing. Like when I was listening to your voice, because just like you said, I mean, you have power behind it. You can hear like the power, like your diaphragmatic, like everything. But your range was like, whoa. And I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of opportunities in rock for me to pull out the first soprano. Yeah.
Love that.
You never know, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I do a lot of, in fact, in this next song that we're releasing, I do a lot of really, really high harmonies. Oh. So that was super fun. So I did pull it out a little bit there.
Oh, that's cool.
Hey, well, thank you for bringing us back to that, because that is why we have you here.
Awesome.
Honestly,
That's right.
I mean, we wanted to get the backstory and everything, but you do have a new song. Can
Yes.
you tell us what it's titled?
Yes, my song is called Someone Else's Life.
Okay.
Yeah. I was thinking because I knew we were going to talk about this song, and so I was thinking, like, gosh, how do I tell the story of the song, right? And it is a story song, which was a new thing. I had never written a story song. It was a little scary to me, how that was going to all work out.
Yeah.
But I can remember reading something, and I pull things from the air half the time, ideas. One of my teachers at a songwriting thing in Nashville that I've been to several years, he talks about, as writers, we always have to have a North Star, a hook, but that principal idea that we're writing towards all the time. And so in this case, I read something or heard something, and it was a phrase something to the effect of, you are not destined to live someone else's life. And when I heard that, I thought, it was beautiful, so I put it in my notes app.
Yeah.
Of course I did. And then I started thinking about it, and I write, a lot of the time I write with a co-writer, and I told her, I said, I came to that writing session with a lot of the first verse written, because as I was thinking about it, what does that mean? What does that look like to not have to live someone else's life? And I kept coming back to the idea of, statistically, if you are raised in a home where there is domestic violence, statistically, you're very likely to enter an abusive relationship at some point in your life. The statistics are awful. They're awful. And, we all know, if we've experienced trauma, depression, one of the cruelest aspects of that is that so often it isolates us, and it tells us that we are alone in it, that we are never going to get out of it, that this is it.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, that the statistics are bad.
Yeah.
They're just bad for women caught trapped in that, for little girls trapped in a home, raised in that kind of home, watching this dynamic play out every day of their lives. So when I think about that, it just feels a little bit hopeless to me. But again, I'm a believer, and my entire worldview is shaped by my belief in Jesus Christ and the good news he came to share.
Yeah.
Enter the gospel.
Yeah.
The gospel says no. There's a new way. Mm-hmm. There's a different way. There's a better way. And that it's not just about our eternal destiny. It's about who we are now. Mm-hmm. And so when I started writing the song, I started telling the story of a little girl hiding behind the couch, trying to disappear so he doesn't choose her next. But now she looks like what her mama did, hiding bruises on her cheek. And here she is repeating.
My skin.
Oh, darling.
Sorry. Sorry, guys.
You're good. You're good. So I wanted to tell this story, a real story, a raw story of this little girl turned woman who does, in fact, repeat this cycle. But there's always this question of, but do I have to live someone else's life? Is there hope? Is there an answer other than this? Yeah. And so she makes that decision. Yeah. That very, very hard decision. Yeah. To leave whatever sense of stability that she had, as distorted as it may have been, it was still familiar. Yeah. And do something different. Yeah. And so when we wrote that last verse, one of the things I'm a lyricist. I write lyrics, and then my co-writer she writes more of the melody, but we both contribute. And we talk about, she's my favorite person to write with because I can talk about these deep, hard things with her. And I told her, I said, what I do not want to do was write this with a fairy tale ending. Yeah. Because while that works really great in the movies, and we all love it, we all love us a good rom-com. Yeah. That's not often what, it usually looks like a lot of hard work, a lot of therapy, a lot of recovery, a lot of time. Yeah. And so what is it that we want to leave with? What is it? What is the hope that we want to leave our listeners with, the people that hear this song that have maybe gone through this kind of trauma, or maybe some other trauma that's left them hurting? And so what I wanted to leave people with was, it's not this fairy tale life that you have. It is, though, a life you're not trying to leave. Right. And to me, a life that I don't have to leave, that I'm not constantly trying to run away from, isn't that what we all want? Yeah. Isn't that the life we want? Maybe that life includes romance. Maybe that life includes children. Maybe that life, I don't know. Yeah. and there's really no set equation that this is, A plus B equals C. Yeah. But if your life is one that has hope, that has purpose, that has been infused with the gospel of Jesus Christ, that's a good life. Yeah. That's a good life. Yeah. It resonated with me that, the biggest thing is that you have a great marriage. You have a beautiful marriage. Yeah. So when you were talking about like the little girl and I was just like, oh, I had chills all over, because it's like, I really never have been able to see how people, and you listen to most writers that write about music, they're writing about their own experiences. You talked about something so beautifully that you've not experienced. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah, absolutely. Like, and how's she nailing this? Actually, I think that's the storyteller in me. Yeah. A lot of times I do tell my story, but mine isn't the only story. Right. I'm one person, and there's a very broad range of experience that I don't have. Yeah. But I am an observer. Yeah. And sadly, which I think we all have this story to tell, I do have family and friends who have experienced exactly that. Yeah. And my own abuse as a child. Yeah. You can kind of glean from that a little bit. I know that feeling of, is this all I'm ever going to be? Is this trapped in this cycle, trapped in this pattern, trapped in this habitual view of myself and what I'm capable of and the value that I hold?
Yeah.
Or is there something better?
Yeah.
Is there something
more?
else?
Yeah.
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 For sure.
Well, I'm excited to hear it. I was really like hoping to hear it before we did this podcast, but I am so excited to hear it whenever it's released.
Well, maybe we'll sneak peek.
Well, all your music is beautiful, and I love your creative process, and I just love how deep you are with everything, you know. And your other 2 songs are awesome.
Thank you.
Do you think you'll
so
ever
much.
re-release the songs that you wrote originally? I know it's like Southern gospel and not really your
Well,
style,
actually,
but
none
can
of
you
those
take an
were
edge?
mine.
Oh, you can't.
Those
are.
I mean, I could re-release them because
Yeah.
I have license to them.
Yeah.
But those were actually written by other writers, amazing writers.
Could you ever get permission to kind of like,
Oh yeah,
and change it up and like make it your own?
Songwriters were like, yes, please cut my music. Take it.
Yeah,
Take it.
yeah.
Do it.
That'd
That's
be
awesome.
exciting.
Well, I think that was amazing.
Yes,
I was
This has been
like-
fun.
This has been an emotional roller coaster a little bit because I just love talking to you. We just connect
Yeah.
and vibe and get into these deep conversations, and we could talk all day long. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah. and you-
Fortunately, we're on a time budget, but that's okay.
yeah. And you're an amazing storyteller.
Yes.
Thank
I mean,
you.
I remember I once had someone tell me, God bless the people that are comfortable walking into like the scarier, the darker places because they can help guide people through.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I feel that with you with like the deeper waters of
Yeah.
things. Like
Yeah.
just God bless someone who's so comfortable being able to kind of swim through those waters because
Yeah.
if someone's never been there before,
Yeah.
you know, and you have your music's
Absolutely.
like a friend to kind of
Yeah.
get, guide people through.
And music it does help people, you know
Oh,
what I mean?
yeah.
There's so many, I mean, you look at Jelly Roll, I mean, he's like
Yeah.
blowing up in the country music now. He's kind of switching to a little bit of a gospel
Yeah.
thing. And I mean, you hear it all the time. There's people who his music has helped him get sober. His music have helped him in some
He's
deep
got
times.
something to say.
He has something to say, and people
Yeah.
really can resonate with that. So I really feel that coming up with you. I feel like you're in that same standing. And when you and I talked, I was kind of blown away because it was just kind of our little daydream about our podcast, and we were just starting to kind of get it, like, okay, what's our hopes, what are our vision, what's our vision, what are our dreams with it,
Yeah.
and kind of how you feel towards music is kind of how we were feeling towards the podcast. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? We want to be willing to walk through those deep waters with people and resonate. I mean, I've been through a lot in my life, you
Right.
know, and I've never felt like confident until recently to think, you know what, my story does hold weight to share with the world. You know what I mean? And there's going to be something that somebody's going to resonate with. You know what I mean? And I mean, I've had movies that, it ends with us. When I went and watched that movie, I've never gone twice to a movie theater and seen that movie. I've seen a movie.
Yeah.
I had to go twice to that movie. And even still, on some of my days when I'm feeling like broken, and yes, of course, it does have the good, happy ending. It is a
Sure.
rom-com.
Sure.
But at the same time, it's just to know that there's somebody else going through what, you know what I mean? Like, there's something else out there, because you do feel so alone when you're in those moments. Sometimes you're laying there at night. I am a Christian girl. Sometimes I was laying there at night being like, God, do you even see me? Like, am I in this all alone? And I know, just me personally, one of the things that always got me through some of those harder nights is I always imagine God's big hand like picking me up and like putting me in his beard like I was in a hammock or something like that. And that was like some of the ways that I could like get myself to sleep, because I couldn't sleep at night, you know what I mean? But that was just like my visual reference of like, okay, this is like, God's got me. He hasn't forgotten me, you know what I mean? I'm not all alone. I'm here, So that's why when you were saying what you were saying, I was like, oh my gosh, girl. Tears are coming out of my eyes. Barely keeping myself together over here.
Well, it ties into like what both of you are saying. It kind of ties into the importance of creating a space for that conversation.
Yeah.
Because there are things that people struggle with that have spaces for them, but not everything. Not everything yet has a place where you can walk in and proclaim loudly out loud.
Yeah.
This is what I went through. This is what I experienced.
Yeah.
So sometimes when, it's not built yet, you got to make it. So
that's true. That's true. And we're coming, I think we're coming out of it, but with the social media age, things are so very carefully curated.
Right.
And that has been so much of our culture for over a decade now.
Yeah.
That has been our culture. And, okay, there's a space for that. I like pretty people as much as the next person. I like pretty things and pretty houses and all of that. Mine's a mess. It's just a mess.
Mine's a real mess, so I promise you it doesn't beat mine.
But at the same time, I think what that has left us with is a hunger for that's a good diet, but it's like eating just a diet of sugar.
Yeah.
And then we're like, okay, I need something of substance. I need something that is going to fill this really empty space. That's pretty, but that's not mine. I don't have it. I'm not sure that's ever attainable for me.
Yeah.
Or what I'd do with it if I got it. And so I need somebody to tell me that the hard thing that is my life is, one, I'm not alone.
Right.
And two, I can do it.
Yeah.
I can do this thing.
Yeah. I think though too, like people are just actually craving like a realness. And I think that's what the internet I think before the internet, and I mean, it could be a good or a bad thing, but I think before the internet, it was like people could hide behind their doors and they can try to appear to have this perfect lives. I mean, what did a woman do before if she was hit and had a bruise by her husband?
Yeah.
She'd cover up with makeup and you know what I mean? And pretend it never even happened. And we were raised by people who, we don't, I mean, think of that Miranda Lambert song, you know what I mean? Like, this isn't my mama's broken heart, you know, where she's like talking about how she's crying and doing all these things. And her mom was like, nope, put your lipstick on, you go out and you act like nothing ever happened, and I think especially with the movement of AI, I think people are just really craving real life and real people. And I think we're done with these like fake borders, boxes that people were always trying to put other people in, putting society in, putting God in, putting history in, putting in, because there's so much information coming at us now that it's like, it's getting too hard to hold the fake. You know what I mean? Or to hold the lies, hold the stories.
Thing,
You know what I mean? I don't know how else to put it other than the fact that everything is just kind of being tore wide open.
Yeah.
Well, you kind of touched on it when you were talking about like your true north, your north node, when you were doing the songwriting
North
process.
Star,
North Star, yes. Thank you. And then about seeing the patterns.
Yeah.
But slipping back into the patterns because they're familiar.
Yeah.
But in my mind, when you were explaining that, it was like being on a road trip and you're seeing the road signs that are telling you where to go, but something is kind of questioning you. Like, yes, I've seen this. I've been taught this my whole life. I recognize this. This is what's been shown to me. This is the way I'm supposed to go. But your internal compass kind of saying, well, have you thought about just questioning what is right in front of you or what you've been shown just in your life, kind of touching on what you were talking about. And I mean, if you think about it, like with a compass, it's showing you which way to go, but you don't know what's that way. Yeah. You're just trusting it and following it, which I really love that kind of theme you have. I hope that didn't sound too deep when I said, I'm not trying not to.
No, I think there's beautiful. A common thread. There's a common thread. There's what we have been told, what we have been taught, that is heavily influenced by a whole host of factors: our culture, religion, politics, whatever. Lots of factors. Then there are all of the questions that we as a society are saying, wait a minute, we've been told this, but I'm not sure that that's true. And because these things have been proven to be false, now I'm questioning everything. So I think where we hold the line, what the thing is the Bible calls it discernment. How do we discern truth? What do we use to discern truth? Because there is an objective truth. There is an objective reality, and we can know it. How do we know it? Because everything seems up for grabs right now. And so, that's when we talk about being Christians, being believers, then, what is our North Star?
Yeah.
As a believer, the Scripture is.
Yeah.
That, 2,000 years worth of, or more than that, with the Old Testament, so yeah. But that is I think that is we feel an instability in our culture right now, because there's so much that is just in question, that is in flux.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think it's also pushing us to really come into our true selves and not try to and I mean, I see it in a lot of ways, and I think there's a lot of good, like I said, and there's a lot of bad, but I mean, I just see it in the conspiracy theories, if you want to talk about that, we talk religion, politics.
Love me a good conspiracy theory.
I mean, there's just like a lot of things that are just getting like kind of pushed to the max and kind of thrown wide open, I mean, hey, the president announced there was aliens. So.
I mean, I don't know. What do we do with that?
Yeah, I know.
Well, I think there's power in just like questioning. And I think for a long time we were just so afraid, like, well, if I question, that means that could be a mirror of...
It's a threat.
Yeah.
It's a threat. It's scary.
Yeah.
It is very scary.
Yeah.
But I think we should. And here's what I know.
Yeah.
Truth is not afraid. Yes, that too. But it's not afraid of being questioned.
No.
Truth can handle questions.
It's really not.
So ask questions.
Ask questions. Yep. And people, when you ask questions, if they're trained liars, you know what I mean, they can still, be kind of smooth with it. But for the most part, there's some kind of hiccup in that. You know what I mean? That people, and I think it's great. I think we're living in a really exciting time, honestly.
It is.
It's scary,
a little
but
scary.
It's scary, but it's fun.
It is exciting. The conversations that I think they're important conversations.
Yeah.
And you go into society and you're starting to learn that some of the times we're moving into ain't for the weak. I feel like this is like the dividing. We see who's strong and weak now.
Now that's a conversation to have.
That's a whole conversation for another day. Oh my goodness. Well, Jessica, you are so lovely, and it's your your husband's birthday.
Yes.
I'm telling you, if I could speak real English, that'd be great. I don't even know why I tried to do a podcast. Because my husband said I couldn't talk, so here I am. I'm going to talk to the whole world.
There you go. I was like, for some reason, my imagination right after you said that, you were going to go, "Happy birthday to you."
Just sing to Jessica.
Jessica's husband.
Relay that to your husband.
I will.
But with your good voice, not mine.
Well, where can people find you? Are you on social media at all? Do you have any websites or anything?
Yes. I'm going to say brokenchalice.com, but it might be .org, but I'm not sure. But Broken Chalice. But yes, I'm on all the socials, Facebook, Twitter. I think I'm even on Twitter.
Ooh.
Instagram, TikTok. Yeah, on all YouTube. Yep, I'm on all those socials as Broken Chalice. You can find me as Broken Chalice.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I'm looking it up right now just to make sure, just so that way we could say, is it brokenchalice.com or .org? And I can't spell, apparently, so. Let's see. Okay, it must be org.
Maybe so. I'm not sure. I don't ever go on my actual website. So yeah, but socials, you're gonna find me on socials anyways. That's where I'm gonna be.
I don't think I spelled it right.
No worries. I'll send it to you. Yeah.
I was trying. I was trying to. But yeah, we can put the link in the bio.
Sure.
Yeah. So I was trying to be really cool and find it, but I'm not that cool.
That drive back from Tennessee, man.
Oh my goodness.
Well, this has been so fun, guys. Yeah. This has been great.
Yes, we had a good time. The problem is with me is I cannot go on vacation because then my brain's like, I'm all in or not in. There's no there's no
middle ground.
So I went on vacation these last 2 days. I didn't have to think, and now my brain's like, we're on vacation.
We're not doing that again.
No, we're not doing this.
You need a nap.
Yeah. Jessica, thank you so much.
Well,
we did appreciate you coming out and just being so patient with us with everything we had going on.
Absolutely.
I said I'll get you the questions, never got them to you.
Hey, I'm better off the cuff anyway. So.
Rolling in 4 minutes before we were supposed to record.
No worries. Thank you guys for inviting me. This has been really great.
Good. Thank you so much. All right. That's a wrap.